Welcome to Miramichi's Voices, a podcast about the people who shape our community. This project is proudly supported by the growing Greater Miramichi Population Growth Grant. I'm your host, Julio Gotardi, and now, let's begin. Hello everyone, thank you for listening to Miramichi's Voices, and thanks for the support in the first episode. This is the second one, and I'm gonna record it, and I'm with Ray. Hello, Ray. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Good.
So the first question is, where are you from, and what are you doing here?
How much time do you have?
I have a lot of time. Yeah.
Where am I from is a long question. I was originally born in South Africa. My father is from Zimbabwe, my mom's from South Africa. And then when I was very young, moved around a lot. So I grew up in South Africa for a bit, then Italy, Switzerland, England, and then eventually Canada.
That's wonderful. Well, I meet you in New Year, and we start talking. I don't know how long we've been talking, like 3 hours.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah.
Okay, so but the other thing, like now here you are starting like a process to be a pilot, right?
Yes, yeah. So sorry. I started my flight training in September of last year, and yeah, I'm doing a commercial helicopter program, and that's in Gatineau, or just north of Ottawa for people who don't know. And yeah,
How is the process?
It's a very long process, but as you think that it's probably a good thing. You don't want people to just get up and fly helicopters willy-nilly.
Yeah.
It's a complicated process, but yeah, it's challenging, but it's very fun and very rewarding. You know, it's one of those things you have to do a lot of work. You do a lot of planning and calculations and stuff, but then when you actually get to fly, it's super fun.
And I saw you like doing like some training about emergency stuff.
Oh
too,
yeah.
in Instagram.
Yeah, I'm a volunteer with Ground Search and Rescue here in Miramichi, so
Right.
wonderful organization. I'm also a volunteer with CASERA, which is the Civil Aviation Search and Rescue Association, where I'm the training officer and drone pilot for the Miramichi zone, and then I'm also on the provincial board of directors. And then I'm also an MFR, so medical first responder with St. John Ambulance, as well as a first aid teacher with St. John Ambulance. And yeah, then a couple other
That's
things.
amazing. How the people can apply?
So most of those, you can just go into the organization's website.
Yes.
And if it's something that interests you, you just usually just find them online, contact whether it's phone or email, whatever they have available. They're pretty good at getting back to you, and then usually the next steps are from there. You know, someone will contact you and kind of go over what experience you have and get you the training that you need.
Can you tell me the motive that you are here in Miramichi? Like, or it's too personal? You know what I mean?
So I originally moved to Miramichi because my partner got a good job here. I didn't have anything here, and so just moved here because it would be a good opportunity. I came here, sat around for a while, did the housewife thing. I got very bored just sitting at home all the time. And then I'm like, no, I got to do something. So I decided to start
But you
doing
are doing
things.
plenty of things. So I gotta do something. But you tell me like you are we're trying to be a pilot. You are doing emergency stuff, and
So when I moved here, I still hadn't finished university. So I then went ahead and about a year after I'd come here, I finished university, and then so now I finished
what did you study?
So I did an honors in mathematics with minors in biology and computer science.
You are amazing.
No, I'm just very bad at saying no.
Okay. Oh, okay. You can say don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the other side of you? You used to live in Italy, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
How was that experience?
So I lived in Italy for, I'd say, the most formative years of my life, between ages 10 and 16. So I grew up in Italy, and yeah, what can I really say about it? You know, like there's so
you
many.
have Argentinian friends.
I did, yeah. Growing up, one of my friends was from Argentina. I remember we got to, talk about all kinds of interesting things and talk about languages. And I picked up my little bit of Spanish that I speak,
No,
my
you
Spanish
speak really
accent.
well
Yeah,
Spanish. So
thank you.
you have the accent of Italian people, but mixed with the Argentinian Spanish.
Yeah, and I find it's funny because even if you just speak Spanish with if an Italian person speaks Spanish, they usually think they're Argentinian because of the just the cadence that they
For
speak with
sure.
and everything. Yeah.
And which other language do you speak? Like, not fluently, just
Yeah, so the languages that I'd say that I speak well are Afrikaans, Dutch, German, English, Italian. I think my Spanish is pretty
yeah,
decent.
it's decent.
Uh,
No,
uh,
I think it's very good.
okay, then you go. My Spanish is fantastic.
Yes.
Here, there you go. If anyone wants to know, so my Spanish, Italian, and then yeah, my Portuguese a little less so. My Portuguese
Oh,
is
you've
not
been
bad.
in Brazil too, right?
I traveled to Brazil. Yeah, that was when I played cricket. I went to go play
I
cricket with
remember that.
Canada there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are talking about the same subject like in New Year, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Now you've got it on a
Yeah.
recording. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, now you are living here in Miramichi. Which one is your favorite spot here in?
My favorite spot, like to eat or just to hang out or to do.
Just whatever.
Oof, I gotta think about this. Well, honestly, spot just to do stuff. I love hanging out at the airport at the Aviation Museum. It's kind of fun there. I volunteer there too. But yeah, the Aviation Museum's fantastic, and I'm working with one of my friends from the Aviation Museum to start a flight school here now, an ultralight flight school at the
I
airport.
can apply.
Absolutely, yeah. We're making our goal is to have ultra pilot permits, so basically a license to fly an aircraft for under $5,000. And I know if anyone's listening and they're like, "Oh my God, it's $5,000." Most of the time, if you go do a pilot's license, you're starting at like $20,000. So 5,000 is very very cheap, you know.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, so I like the airport, and then I mean, look, I play lots of strength sports. I play rugby, a lot of things. So I'm a person that likes eating. So Namaste and Hennessy's are nice spots. You know,
Yes.
I like
Yeah.
frequenting those places, and yeah, I'd say those are my favorite spots.
And what about the food from Canada? We talk about it. We talk about it. Just be honest.
I am not the biggest fan. So, but again, like I want to maybe add some nuance to that is that there is absolutely good food in Canada. You can find
Yeah,
good food
for
here.
sure.
But I feel like, let's say you're living in Europe, good food is the rule, not the exception. Here, I feel like good food is the exception, not the rule.
Absolutely. You have the experience, right?
Yes, I'm very,
With Italian
very
food.
judgmental. you
And
know?
Italian food. Do you like it? Well, we try vitel toné the other
Yeah,
New Year.
Vitello Tonato. Yeah, I know. That's how we met. you know?
Yes, that was the main theme, I think, in
Yeah,
that
well-
conversation.
Well, you were surprised that I knew what it was, and I was surprised that someone made it. You know?
In Miramichi, like in a small town, and
But talking about that, so there is a very good Italian restaurant in Rogersville. So
Okay.
they're from Italy, and
what
yeah,
is the name of the
Alma.
Alma?
Yeah, so just across from a train station. It was very funny because the first time I went in there, I was like a kid in a candy shop, and I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, this is just like back home. And he said, oh yeah, I could tell by the way you pronounce some of the things that you
Alma.
were serious.
Yes. And what about your life in Africa? How was your?
So I grew up when I was very young, and then when I was a bit older again, and yeah, I mean, I could do a whole essay on South Africa because I really think South Africa is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. It's very interesting because you have a lot of contrast. You have like extreme wealth compared to extreme poverty, and they're very juxtaposed because they'll be not far from one another. And but still, it's such an interesting place with a very unique vibe, and it's yeah, I do miss it a lot. It's a great country. Of course, it's got some bad things to it as well, but yeah, no, it's a very interesting place to grow up, and of course to visit, and I think about it all the time.
What thing did you miss the most from Africa, or maybe your place?
So I could talk about things like, oh, I love the nature because it's beautiful. Like the fynbos there is only found there and nowhere else. And, there's some interesting foods there, but by far the weather,
The weather,
especially when
yeah.
we're looking at another snowstorm where you wake up and you see snow covered
Uh,
everything in March and you're like, oh,
but now it's spring.
yes. And I don't know if you looked outside recently.
No,
How do you
no,
feel
for
about
sure.
it?
Yeah, yes. So and then so you was born in Africa and then you moved to
I moved to Italy. So that was the
Italy
first place.
with
Yeah.
your parents,
Yes.
and then
And then after Italy, it was Switzerland.
how
And
was it?
Switzerland, Switzerland's quite. It stands in stark contrast to what you experienced in Italy because Italians really could not care about anything. It's like, oh, you go to the government, whatever, and like, oh, we'll do it, and are you available? No, 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 come back domani. Come back
Domani,
tomorrow.
Domani, Domani tomorrow.
And then you go to Switzerland, and if they say the train's going to be there at 12 o'clock, the train pulls into the station,
Well, I got to say that it's the Argentinian way too, the
Yeah.
Italian way.
I'm assuming because Argentina had so many Italian immigrants, they brought their, like, is it the same in Argentina? If someone says, hey, we'll meet at 3, they mean between 5 to 7 p.m.,
Yes, yes, accurate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. True story. And what about the life here in Canada?
It's for me, I guess the biggest difference I've seen here in Canada, I definitely feel like it's there's two periods. Sort of when I first came to Canada, it felt a bit easier in the terms of like the economically, potential wise. You felt like okay, you can sort of build things here, and then I'd say definitely in the latter half of my time in Canada, it's felt a bit harder, But I think that's a bit all over the world.
Yeah.
But certainly the first half of my experience in Canada was more pleasant in that sense.
What about the people? It's not only the places, right?
Yeah, no, the people here, I find it's Canada is very diverse. So you have a big cross section of people. You have some people who are absolutely amazing. You have some people who are not so nice. In that sense, I think you can always sort of the nice thing about Canada is you can always find people that sort of fit with you. Whatever you're looking for, or you can find someone here that will sort of fit in and be able to
Where did you meet your partner? So it was
online.
online? Oh, yeah, I
But
remember.
that was in Moncton actually. Yeah, it was sort of an accident, but yeah.
It, like an
Oh, we sort of met, and it was like, oh, we'll just kind of like hang out for fun and stuff, and didn't think it
and
would
then
be
you just
serious.
move out here
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
and
well,
start over. Like
well, we
you've
moved.
been studying, right? At
Yes,
that time,
yes, we moved to Fredericton first, and
yeah,
then we moved here. Yeah, and I'm still studying, so.
you're going to stay. So what is your favorite thing here in Miramichi? Like in the city or the people? What is the
What do I like most about Miramichi?
yeah?
About the people here? Well, I'd say that everyone here is pretty friendly. I mean, like, for example, when I came here first, I spent a lot of time with the rugby club,
Hmm.
and everyone there is super nice, and
It's
it's
pretty
like
popular, the rugby here,
it is,
right?
yeah, it is, and it's a great club. Everyone's super friendly. They're very supportive. You feel like you're part of a group of people, like, and it's nice. You chat, you get support, and you share a common interest.
And the aviation thing. So, do you need to pass some levels, or how is
Oh
the
yeah,
process?
if you want to talk about the nitty gritty of it, but basically what you do is you start. So when you apply, let's say you want to do your commercial or even your private, there's not that much of a difference. It's just you do all the same things. It's just for your commercial, they give you stricter standards for everything, but you're still doing the same thing. So what you do first is you get your medical, right? So you don't want to spend any money unless you're sure that you can medically clear flying. So you get your medical. Then once you've got your medical, you apply to your school. Depending on schools and how people do it, but you do a bit of study. Then you write what's called your P star. So what does that stand for? Pre-solo test of aviation regulations, right?
Okay.
So it's kind of like your learners, right? Because if you're flying and you see a plane coming towards you, you need to both know what are you going to do, So it's kind of like that. So once you got your P star, then you have to get your SPP student pilot permit. So a couple of things, you have to like an English test and whatnot. Then once you have that, you can fly on your own, but only under supervision of your instructor. Then once you've done that, you go write your ground test. So that's your PPAR, or so if you're doing helicopter, it would be, or PPHEL. Anyway, so it's basically like the written test to say that you know all the theory, the calculations, the legalities, the science. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of science. And then once you've passed that and you have enough hours, then you can do a flight test.
How many hours do you need to be in the air to get the pilot, I don't know, the certificate?
So it kind of goes up in levels, but the standard one is sort of the PPL, and in Canada the minimum is 45 hours. But let's say you do an ultralight pilot permit, like at the school that we're starting, it's a minimum of 10 hours. But I mean, our school's going to make it 20 because we're not in the business of killing people, you know, like, yes, technically in 10 hours you can get it, but in 10 hours you're not going to be experienced enough to keep yourself alive, you know. But then, so that's 45. But then there's another one that's in between, which is the recreational pilot permit. That's 25 hours, but that's also very limited what you can do. And then, so PPL is sort of the gold standard for a private pilot. And then for a commercial pilot, for helicopters, it's 100 hours. And for aircraft, it's 250 hours. But even then, you're still like baby pilot. You know, now you got to go find baby job where you're flying
like
very
a
simple
kindergarten,
things.
Then the high school, and
yeah, and then sort of the magic number is 1,000 hours. Once you've hit 1,000 hours, then you can get all the nice jobs. You know.
How was the feeling of the first flight?
Oh, it was fantastic. You know, like, I mean, flying a helicopter is
wonderful,
freaking cool. You know, yes. And I remember the first time, and so we're flying, the instructor takes you sort of on a demo flight, you know, like this is how it works and this is how it feels. And at one point the instructor, you know, oh, can you take a picture? Yeah, sure. So he takes my phone and takes a picture, and I realized that he's completely hands off. I'm flying the helicopter, and I was like, oh, I'm flying the helicopter, you know, like, very exciting. It's super cool. And then as you get a bit
scared
more
too, or
no, not scared at all. Well, no.
It's maybe it's your personality, but
a little bit. I also grew up around it all the time, right? So my father was an engineer in the Air Force, so I got to be around aircraft a lot.
That's why we move out to another countries, or
a lot of it, yeah. That's a lot of why I moved when I was younger, yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah, okay. So it's really interesting, and I need to ask you about the languages. Which one is your favorite? Because
I think Italian. Italian's my favorite. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Maybe because I grew up with it mostly. You know, it was sort of a language that I used the most. It's definitely the funnest one to speak. You know,
yes.
It's got like the cadence.
They have this strong like consonants.
Strong consonants. You know, like your syllables are nice and open. You have. It's a very passionate language. It's vivacious, you know, and swearing in Italian super fun.
It's not only fun; it's therapeutic.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, with the T's and the P's and the R's, you know.
It makes me feel. Alive, you know, like.
Yes, for sure. Well, I'm not Italian. I'm just grow up in Argentina.
Your Italian cousin, you know.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, my little town in Argentina, the heritage is from Italy. So we have dishes from Italy. We have like a dialect from Italy. It calls Piemontes, from Piemonte.
Yeah. I grew up in Lombardia, which is right next to Piemonte, you know.
Lombardia.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about Lombardia?
Lombardia is in the very north of Italy. So where I grew up, I was probably like, I don't know, a 20-minute drive to the Swiss border. You have the big lake. There's Lago Maggiore. So you have Lago di Como and Lago Maggiore. And I was basically in between the two. On the other side of Lago Maggiore is Piemonte. And it was definitely a wealthier area of Italy, but it had very charming fall and winter. You know, you did get cold, but definitely not as long as here. And you know, very unique culture. The food was incredible everywhere you went.
The
And
pasta?
oh yeah,
Not
of
only the
course.
pasta,
Yeah, the
right?
pasta. So a funny thing actually is my Italian accent. I'm very from the north, and in Italy, the people from the north eat polenta. It's a common dish
Polenta,
in the
yeah.
north. And so when I speak to Italians outside of Italy, they always say, "Oh, you've got the accent of a polentona," like
Yeah. Actually, we try to do a polenta here,
yeah.
and the taste is not the same.
No,
No,
well,
we
I can't.
tried.
I can't imagine what like. So I'm assuming in Argentina it's quite popular too.
Yeah,
Or,
it's really
yeah.
popular. It's a popular dish.
I
Yeah.
love polenta.
Yeah.
Polenta.
With
Usually, like the polenta, so you get it to set and cut it into cubes. You grill it
yes.
with gorgonzola on it.
Nice. Yes, yeah. We used to do that. Yeah, in Argentina, it's really popular.
Yeah, no, I love polenta. It's a fantastic dish, and I also sometimes use it as a base instead of like pasta or rice, and like chicken cacciatore, and I'll put the polenta as the base, and then put the chicken and sauce on top. Yeah.
I have family in Italy, so they used to love. I think they will love this podcast today because
That's
I have
great.
family in Italy.
Which part are they from?
They are from Asti.
Asti.
Asti is near no, my heritage is from Brescia, but
Okay,
I
yeah.
have family living in Asti. I think now it's my cousin is in Asti.
Okay.
It's near. Oh, I can't remember. But
Well, I've been to Brescia a couple of times too, because it's not far from. Yeah.
my dad went to Brescia because we need the paperwork to do the passport and
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So yes,
Very nice place too. Yeah.
but mostly of my family in Italy moved out to England. Now they are living in Eastbourne. I don't know if you went to England.
Yeah, I lived in England for a while. Yeah.
And what's the difference between England and Italy?
Oh my god. Like I don't want to sound like I'm just hating on England, but Italy, I definitely liked Italy more. England, especially too, because I lived in one of the worst parts of England. I still had good times, but it's definitely was a poorer area. It was in Yorkshire, and so yeah, I just happened to pick probably the worst place to live. But even if you went to a bigger city in Yorkshire like Leeds, and outside of the big cities like the Lake District, a lot of places like that were very beautiful. But yeah, I lived in a terrible place.
Where did you live in England?
In Wakefield. So
where is it? Is the south, the north?
it's the north.
north?
Not super north. It's not like near Scotland. Well, it's closer to Scotland than it is to London, say, but it's definitely, if you take sort of Manchester and you go just east, like straight east from Manchester, it's sort of somewhere there in the middle. Yeah.
And the difference between English and Italian. What's the difference?
Well, firstly, the English in Yorkshire is very distinct from other English forms. And I mean, like, if you took someone from, I don't know, Alabama and you dropped them in the middle of Leeds, they'd have just a harder time understanding the English as they would if you dropped them in Italy.
Actually, here we have the same problem with the French community and the English,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it is true because I do speak French, and some of the French is very hard, and others much easier to understand. And so, yeah, it's the same variation. Like I said, you have someone that learns English in Texas and someone that learns English in London or Scotland, and in theory it's the same language, but in practice it's going to be quite different.
Actually, it's the most interesting part of being here because my second language is English, so I speak but
that's great.
I'm gonna say that it's better for us to be here because we can learn the English in a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so I don't know if you're familiar with the CFR levels of languages. Now, it's a Common European Framework reference, So you can get your A1, A2, which is sort of beginner, advanced beginner. Then you have your B1, B2, which is advanced, like your intermediate. And then you have your C1, C2. So C1 is where you're considered like you're bilingual.
Yeah.
But the difference between C1 and C2 is that when you're C2, you can understand multiple different accents and slangs and contexts and cultural references. So
mostly of the languages is about context. I
Yeah.
would say.
It is, and that's the thing. It's like when you hit that C2 level, you don't only understand the language, you also understand the culture around it, but multiple cultures, because you can have, even if you take something like French, you have African French, you have Acadian French, you have Quebec French, Belgian French.
Actually, this is kind of awesome from this area like Miramichi because we have different French
It's true.
and we have different English,
Yeah.
right? So because we have people from Africa who speak French like a first language and then came here and they start learning English and backward too. So people who knows English and start learning French. Um, what do you think about it? It's the culture here is really diverse, right?
It is very diverse, and I mean, like, yeah, I can think of, for example, I when I first learned French here, I made friends with people here who were from France, and that's how I learned even more French. And then, you know, went to I know other people who are from Quebec. I have friends from Quebec now,
They
and I
speak different.
speak different to them, but we can still speak French, and that's how we communicate. So. And then the one French, it's not that good yet, the Acadian French, but it's getting better, to be able to understand it and figure it out. But yeah, sort of different ways, and each of them has like a sort of its own feeling to it and its own, what we.
I want to know more about the Acadian history.
Yes, that would be very interesting to learn. I'm
Yes.
definitely not the person.
Actually, no,
to
I
tell
know,
you.
but actually, it's a good way to say that if someone wants to be here in this podcast, an Acadian guy or Acadian girl, whatever, they can
So we'll our
they
next
can
job
teach me about Acadians.
we'll find someone. Worry pa. We'll find someone.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, so the last question in this podcast is: can you talk in your own language and send a message to your friend, to your family, or maybe my family that who speak Italian? Okay, and then I'm gonna ask you what do you say.
Okay.
Just start now.
Allora, quello che direi è che, vabbè, l'italiano ha fatto una gran parte della mia vita, soprattutto l'infanzia, quando sono cresciuta, e va bene, poi passando così tanto tempo in Italia, comincia, come dire, crescere nel cuore, e fa parte di chi sei, e allora per il resto della mia vita avrò sempre una parte di me che è italiana, e vabbè, il cibo, la cultura, gli amici, soprattutto le Alpi, dove sono cresciuta e ho passato tantissimo tempo a sciare, non so, fare un po' di tutto, no? E sì, va bene, allora direi un saluto a tutti i miei amici che stanno ascoltando, se stanno ascoltando, alla famiglia di Julio, che anche, immagino che anche loro ascolteranno un poco di quello che stiamo facendo oggi. E sì, va bene. Che altro? Sì, speriamo che vedrò l'Italia presto, no? Che passerò un po' di tempo a vedere tutti i posti vecchi dove sono stata.
Actually, I cannot understand, so I could understand. So I want to go there too.
Okay, yeah.
But what do you say? Because for the people who is listening.
So I basically said something like, I don't know, I kind of made it up as I was going along, but like it was like, how I grew up in Italy and I miss speaking Italian, like it's like I spent so much of my formative years in Italy that, it becomes a lot of your identity of who you are, and I miss a lot of things about it. I like to go visit again, and yeah, it's just sort of a little bit of nostalgia of remembering all the good times that you had and the culture and the people and your friends, and yeah, just
Actually, the Italian is really nostalgic.
it is. Yeah.
I think that it's nostalgic. I don't know.
Oh, it is. I mean, like, look, it's I still, for example, my the friend that I've been known the longest is from Italy, so Francesco. And so, like, I can't think of many people. And it's crazy to think that I've known someone for like almost 25 years. That's absolutely crazy.
That's a lot,
So 25 years. My math better be good. I did agree in it, but yeah, like a long time. And we still talk. It's kind of, it's very interesting. And
He's in Italy.
yeah, I think he lives in Paris now. He's a neurosurgeon, so way too cool for us,
he's too cool.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really happy to have you here because it was a really good chat. And
Thank you for having me.
and I'm gonna say good luck in everything you are doing because
Thank you.
you deserve it.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay. This is the second episode, and we'll see you again, I think. Bye.
Okay, where do I send the bill?
Thanks for listening to Miramichi's Voices. This podcast is supported by the growing Greater Miramichi Population Growth Grant. Follow, share, and join the conversation. See you next time.